What's going on, guys? Welcome to my Tina dungeon guide. This is easily the hardest dungeon in the entirety of Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and it's not even that difficult to do. It just has some mechanics that newer players may not actually be familiar with, or people that haven't played other MMOs or other like challenging raids. So basically, the goal of this guide is to be a run through of the dungeon. It's not going to be super in depth, but it's going to explain all of the mechanics and what you need to do. First off, this should cover hard and master mode, but first I'm just going to show you guys the hard route pathing. So you're going to go down here as your main tank. Should go grab all these 3 packs right around this. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a statue in the middle. You're gonna just have the tank grab everything. We're a little over geared for this, so everything's gonna die a little bit faster, but these are the first 3 you want to take. This dungeon hits pretty dang hard day 1, and I wouldn't recommend always going straight to all of the packs of mobs at once. So we're pulling a little bit smaller here just to show you an example. Technically, when you get higher gear score, you can pull all the way to that end pack right there. You can see in the corner of the screen, and you can grab all of them, but I wouldn't recommend that day 1 because as a tank right now, you probably don't have the sustain tools you need. On day 2 and 3, you might. Once you're done with that pack, you're going to go on and move on to this guy. Now, these 5 enemies, there's a guy with a fire axe. This guy will take a while to die, and he just absolutely chunks you. As a tank, you can dodge his autos. He will do so much damage to you. It is a ridiculous amount of damage, but it's like I said, you just dodge autos and just be careful. You don't need to pull everything at once. It is nice to pull everything at once, but if you don't have the gear score, don't do it. Again, we're just rushing through these because we're over geared, but typically the only things you have to worry about in this area is the fire axe guys. Now, in the master level of the dungeon, you're not going to worry about the fire axe guys because you're going to take a different path, but I will show that to you guys later. I actually want to move on to the boss because this is the hardest part of the entire thing. So Tina only has a few different mechanics that you need to worry about when you actually get to her boss fight. The first thing that's going to happen is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see her cast bars. The cast bars are very important to this fight because when she does Void Sigil, someone's going to get a flame above their head and a circle AoE. Now, at the same time, there's going to be a stack marker going off. You really want to make sure that all of your party is in that stack marker because it splits the damage across all the players and it makes it so that one person doesn't instantly die because that's no fun. So the Void Sigil, if you look at the bottom left of the screen of the person who has it, it actually shows a timer on when it's going to blow up. Now, it's going to be a countdown, and in the master mode, it actually is less time to transfer the sigil. Basically, there's going to be a button in some part of your screen. I think it's usually the bottom right. It'll tell you what you need to press to pass the Void Sigil to another player. If you do not pass the Void Sigil to another player before the timer runs out, you die. However, there also is an order of operations here because at one point, Tina will start casting Void Purify in the top left. When that timer is going off, she is queuing up a tank buster that's going to purify that debuff and remove it from players. So what you need to do is you need to pass the Void Sigil to the tank when you see Void Purify in the top left. However, if your timer is about to run out and Void Purify is not in the top left, then you need to pass it to someone who's not a tank player because they will hold it until it's time for Void Purify to come up and then pass it to a tank. Once Void Purify's timer runs out and her mechanic finally queues up, it's going to target the person that has the Void Sigil on them. That's why you need to pass it to the tank, because if it's not a tank that takes it, they will die to damage. It is a ridiculously high amount of damage. DPS are not surviving unless you are very overgeared for the fight. Now, you technically can iframe this. I have an example that should be playing on screen now. The problem with the iframe is if you iframe it, you won't cleanse the debuff either. The reason is because if you don't get actually physically hit by the buster, the debuff won't disappear. That's why you have to give it to a tank player, because if a DPS or a healer takes it, they will die, and if a tank takes it, they will live, but it has to hit the player that's taking it. Now, if you're a DPS and you get targeted, but you pass it to the tank at the last second, you as the DPS can iframe it so long as you don't have the debuff, and that will help you live through it. There's one other mechanic to note with the Void Corruption debuff, and it's that if you pass it to the same player twice, it will start ticking a very heavy damage over time on them. So make sure not to pass it back and forth to the same people twice, otherwise you will just start draining HP very rapidly. The only person who can do this is if it starts on tank, they can pass it to another player, and then they can take it back at the last second. But that should be all that you need to know about the Void Sigil. Now, one thing that you see happen at the beginning of this fight and in this clip is that Void Purify and Reverie Megamorph are coming up. Sometimes there are cases where Void Purify can queue up, but then a longer intermission can happen between the actual buster. Maybe she'll transition phases, or maybe she'll do Reverie Megamorph first. If she does her clone mechanic first, or her big arena slashes that I'll show you later in the video, what you need to do is you need to pass it to another DPS or another healer, wait until that mechanic is almost resolved, and then pass it to the tank before it resolves, because the second the mechanic resolves, the marker will appear on the tank, and the tank will have to take the buster. Moving on to the next mechanic, it's called Reverie Megamorph, and this mechanic is very interesting, but it's also very easy. I like the idea and the execution behind it. Essentially, she's going to make 3 different clones of herself, and they're all going to be walking the same direction, but at different times. So one of the Tinas is going to start by immediately walking back towards the original Tina. One of them will walk a little bit to the wall and then turn around, and then one of them will walk a lot of ways to the wall and turn around. So you just have to find the order. From this recording, I was able to see them constantly going clockwise as the right order to defeat them, but I don't know that it will always be clockwise. It is possible that it's maybe counterclockwise sometimes, but basically just look for the Tina that's going to get to the original one the fastest, and then the second fastest, and the third fastest, and that should help you resolve that mechanic very easily, even with a tight DPS check. Another mechanic to worry about with Tina are these pie slices. Now, when the pie slices come out, there's going to be swords surrounding Tina. 2 of these swords will break at the last possible second, and those will be the safe zones. So you wait until the swords break, or until the AoE on the ground disappears, and you dash into the safe zone at the last second. Then a rotating pattern will occur. In this video, I believe it was clockwise, but I do think this can be counterclockwise as well. So just give it a look. It will always go one direction. It'll never switch back and forth. Once you get her into her second phase, you have to deal with Giantess Tina, and this one is very easy to deal with. Wherever you see Tina teleport, from your POV, she's going to go left to right. You have to wait until her sword crosses about the halfway point in the arena, and then you teleport by pressing F or the interact key on the wardrobe to teleport you to the other side. This is one of the easiest mechanics. You don't really have to worry about it too much. You just wait for that sword to cross the halfway point or hit the halfway point, and then you teleport. If you teleport too early, the end lag of the animation will actually just kill you, so you do have to wait a little tiny bit. And again, at the end of this, if she did cast Void Purify before you went into that transition phase, it will immediately go into the buster right after it ends. Now, there's another mechanic with some ground AoEs that you'll have to spread apart from people for. These ground AoEs will turn into Tina dashing and slashing away at you. You can have a DPS stay in the middle to constantly keep uptime until the cast goes off, but honestly, the safest thing is to just have everyone kind of fan out around the arena and spread apart. You have more than enough time, but a DPS can stay in the middle technically if they want to, and then you just go to Tina afterwards. In the third phase, it's just a repeat of mechanics. She'll just keep making clones and doing Void Sigil, and you'll basically just keep repeating those, and there's a tight DPS check where she'll just keep doing clones and killing you. The tank player should be able to live some of those hits, but every time she does her like pounce skill at the end of those clones, she will do a little bit more damage towards the end of the fight, and that's going to be her soft enrage. Those mechanics are exactly the same in Master, except they happen a little bit faster, and the Void Sigil has less time on it, but that's basically how you resolve all of the Tina mechanics. If you can have a tank with Irona in your party, it's massively helpful for this fight. This fight was a huge pain in the ass on CN because players just weren't aware of what was going on and how to tell what the mechanics are, so I hope this helps you guys understand things a little bit better. Now, I did want to add one more thing for Master Mode pathing. In the Master Mode, you're actually going to have 2 different wardrobes you can go to. In Master Mode, because the Flame Axe guy just chunks you so dang hard on tank, you actually want to go to the left wardrobe, because in the left wardrobe, there are no Flaming Axe guys that are going to be doing constant tank busters to you, and instead of doing the right wardrobe, you go to the left one, you path all the way down to where the activity is, you can dodge all of the mechs, you do the activity, you have to make sure to heal everyone to full and then kill all the guys, then you go up the ramp across, and there should be another wardrobe there. This is the safer route to do in Master Mode. Everything does a little bit less damage to you. There's a lot more guys, but if you have the Thunder Ogre on the tank, it should be fine for grouping. And lastly, there also is this little alternate pathing thing you can do where you can just jump right up there. It'll be useful for some groups, but not for everyone. Anyways, I hope this was a really helpful guide for you guys, and good luck with your Tina runs. I encourage you guys to check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/Brax, where I'm playing this game basically all the time now. And if you guys need any help, or if you want a community to help you do hard content, make sure to join my Discord and try to join my guild Elysium. We have literally 5 guilds right now because there's so many people involved and everyone's so nice and helpful. So anyways, with all that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.